right, y'all. This is DFW Sportscast, and this is Chris King II. Coming to you live, baby. We here. All right, y'all. Let's talk about these Dallas Cowboys, man. Another disappointing loss, losing to a team that we should not have even been close with throughout this game that just happened a couple of days ago on Sunday afternoon. Another disappointing loss. I mean, I just can't say it enough. I said it before and I'll say it again. This is one of those games that you have on your schedule and you consider it a trap game. You go up to a place, I would consider a hostile environment, and another situation just like Chicago a couple weeks ago where there's familiarity between the teams and the personnel, and the other team handles business on their home field. I mean, Carolina, say what you want, but they're having a pretty solid couple of games here. They're trying to turn it around down there, and not to make any excuses, we should have took care of this team. We should have put them away. Rico Dowdle started out this week saying, hey, the Cowboys, they better buckle up. They know what's about to happen. They know what I'm about. They know me over there. I mean, how dare he, as the running back number 2 in Carolina of all places, decides to have confidence to say, hey, they're going to feel me next week when I play them. They know what I'm about. It disgusts me. But you know what? The loss is behind us. We're moving on. I just got a few things to say. 105.3 The Fan, local Dallas sports station, one of my favorite radio stations to listen to for sports talk. You guys definitely need to tune in. Stephen Jones decided to do an interview today, and he said some things that I thought was interesting. Excuse me. One of the things that he said that was interesting to me was just about, of course, backing up the statements that Shotty said. Basically they're still going to back Eberflus, and they feel that they have the scheme and the right personnel to run the things that they want to run defensively with all the chaos, and they're going to double down. I mean, it makes sense, right? You spent the offseason trying to put a coaching staff together that fit the personnel. It was all about bringing the right guys in, changing the culture, and, it looked like we were trying to roll into the right direction until, unfortunately, Michael Parsons was traded. Now, when you look back into everything, just kind of, over the past few weeks, it has been a little bit of a challenge. Seeing linebackers being put in positions to cover, and we don't have covering linebackers. Putting defensive backs in positions to play zone when we don't have zone playing defensive backs. I say this now, I'll say this again. Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs, they got paid, both of them. Say what you want to say, but these guys individually at one point in their careers, and it was just only a few short years ago before all the injuries to them both, I feel that they were your best man-to-man corners in the league. I mean, both of them single-handedly were runner-ups for Defensive Player of the Year. We have some of the best corners in the league. Now, we have yet to see that on the field in recent memory, just because of like I can't say it enough, the injuries have been a problem. But I honestly feel like what they did best was, hey, we're gonna play man. We get beat. Sometimes you get beat. It's hard to play corner in this league. They're the hardest position, I feel, because they're starting backwards. You're running backwards the whole time. So sometimes you're going to get beat, especially if you're playing man in this league and some of the speedy receivers you have to go against. And so, but I think I like my chances seem bland and Diggs playing man coverage rather than zone. And I honestly say this, and I'm going to leave it at that. We know that there is some things going on with the locker room and how they feel, especially the secondary. And one of the guys I would like to talk about is Diggs. He's been very vocal about, hey, I want to play man. But this defense that Matt Eberflus is running does not allow them to play man very much. I'm going to say less than 10%. And I'm talking about maybe less than 5%. And I'm going to tell you something, guys. It's going to get really bad if we continue to do this zone here. Everybody's looking confused. We got Kenneth Murray. We got Sanborn. We got Shamar James. We got Maris Leofau. We got all these different linebackers that we're just throwing out here. And I'm going to tell you right now, none of these guys can cover as well. None of them. And if you're waiting on DeMarvion Overshown to come in, he's not going to do much covering either. He is he's going to tackle. He's a tackling machine. He's a sack machine. He's a pursuit guy. So I feel like we got all these linebackers who are just not good with those type of things. And these cover 3 and cover 2 defenses that Matt Eberflus loves to run, they're asking for the middle linebacker to be that. And I just don't see that on this team. So my solution to this, it looks like the Cowboys are very invested in these 2 coaches. Schottenheimer, the assistants on these coaching staffs here with Clayton Adams. Matt Eberflus is running the show defensively, and he's letting you know about it. He's not changing the scheme. He's very, very, very stuck in his ways. He's been like that forever, and sometimes that's been his Achilles heel in some of his stops, like Indianapolis or most importantly and most recently his time in Chicago, where things really went south. Yes, he's been able to have top 10 defenses, and this bend don't break approach with his defensive style can be successful, but I feel like you need personnel here. And like I say, this is a situation where it's unfortunate, but we might be a year or 2 out from what this defense can really look like, or what this team could really look like. Unfortunately, I don't think we have that long with Dak. With his injury history, like, this would be a season to try to put all the chips in the middle and go for it. We got one of the top offenses in the league. We have people constantly injured. We got a running game, which, especially last week, I really think, in this past week against the Carolina Panthers, it struggled. The run game struggled. And I still feel like, if we were able to get a running back number 2, because we really need someone to give Williams a little bit of a break sometimes and just give the defenses a better look. Because, we're going to need this run game. I think it keeps Dak, upright, keeps him in the flow of the offense, and it just makes things a little bit more difficult. And as you see, if we're not able to run the ball on teams, it really gets a little hard later in the game to convert on third downs or keep the chains moving and continue to score. And it looks like what the team is doing is they're just banking on this offense scoring every drive. And I'm going to be honest with you, in this NFL football league, I'm going to tell you right now, hey, you're going to have a hard time trying to score every single drive. Super Bowl teams are not doing that. So, it's just impossible, and it's really unrealistic to ask of Dakota Rain Prescott. So, I think the scheme that they're running, you can't change it at this point. You can't fire the defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus. We fired Mike Nolan. We fired Zimmer. We let DQ walk. But I'm gonna say this: the one commonality that I've seen with this Cowboys defense is the secondary always has been a problem. And when I say that, I don't mean that from the cornerback position. I mean from the safety position. We're still trying to figure out what safeties will actually work, with the cornerbacks that we have. And I feel like that's another problem. I feel like teams play us and they're not scared of that back end of the defense because they know that we don't have safeties that can cover as well. So they might think a little bit when it comes to throwing at Bland or throwing at Diggs, but they really don't care when it comes to the middle of the field and looking at those safeties. I just don't feel like we have the best safety group. I know we've given Wanye Thomas a great look. There's Wilson, the injury to Hooker. Of course, it's allowed Thomas to play, but Wilson has been out there, and I just feel like he's more of a linebacker, someone that needs to play in the box. He's more of a box safety. So they take advantage of him and use him and try to make him cover. I think that's horrible. To me, to make this simple, you got to find you a good middle linebacker that can control the middle of the field, cover a little bit, come up and make plays. They know their assignments. And a guy that I'm banking a table for, you know what? I'm gonna bring up a few guys. I'm looking at, I'm calling up the Saints, man. You guys are struggling. What you guys want for Demario Davis? Let me grab Demario Davis. We know what type of linebacker that is. I think he can break the game. Somebody is really familiar with Eberflus, which as we speak today, after watching last night's game on Monday night against the Commanders, I don't think the Bears want to get rid of Tremaine Edmonds, but we can always call. We got picks. Who doesn't want any of these picks? So Tremaine Edmonds. I'm not really knowing any other linebackers out there, but Tremaine Edmonds is somebody who's played under Eberflus in Chicago. I think he can be someone who can definitely help. Demario Davis is definitely somebody who can help. And I'm not seeing any other linebackers that would be available. I definitely think we can try to give another crack at it with the defensive end. If we can find someone who can come in and, help this unit rush the passer, because we obviously got to understand this defense needs to have pressures, sacks, and we got to create turnovers. If we don't, we're giving teams time to sit in the pocket, and we're exposing the seams. We having teams just kind of pick us apart in this zone. And, as you look at some of these plays and some of these formations where the team is just basically giving up yards late in the game, the quarterbacks are getting comfortable in the pocket. We can see what type of day that the Cowboys are going to have, and it's going to be a tough day. We also seen games where the defense has played physical and we're able to get turnovers or get pressures, and we've seen quarterbacks like Jordan Love struggle or have a tough time, even though they were able to score a little bit. They were able to kind of not feel comfortable. We looked really good, I thought, against Philly a little bit. They didn't really do much offensively, but I don't think they're doing much offensively anyway. And then you look at teams like the Jets, who they had a quarterback that we struggle with, the type of quarterback that Justin Fields is. Likes to get out the pocket and move around and run, and they got a running game. And I feel like we got a lot of good pressure on him. And also, even though Breece Hall did what he did, I still feel like we just look better just physically. We physically just tried to impose ourselves, and we were getting after it. The defensive ends were really just coming off the edge and getting pressures. Looking at players like Donovan Ozaraku, who's a rookie, and he looks great. Like I think eventually he's gonna figure it out, and he's gonna start getting to the quarterback. So it's only a matter of time. So I do feel confident there, but I just feel like you got to find you a linebacker, and you got to figure out this safety unit. I love Wilson. He somehow, some way, he's always around the ball to get the interception. He's very physical. He likes to come up and hit, but he cannot be in coverage. We cannot have that. So I like Thomas. Thomas is probably our best safety, just coverage wise. I feel like he's a pretty good cover safety, and I feel like he's just very active, and has quicker feet, so very confident with him being back there. But in totality, I mean, you can't waste this season. Dak is having an MVP season. You have 4 first round picks in the next 2 years. We have not hit on any early round picks in a while on defense. So to think that we're gonna go in these next 2 years and just, let's draft defense, let's build up this defense from the draft. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna say it again. We've tried that already. We've done those things where we wanted to throw in these young guys on the defense and let them grow, and then we go out and free agency on defense and we bargain hunt. Now, we see a bunch of guys on this current defense who we have at key positions on 1-year deals, minimal deals, we're bargain shopping, and that doesn't get us anywhere. As we see Kenneth Murray, Sandborn, these guys are not able to get it done for us. These are at best rotational pieces, rotational linebackers. And we're just banking on Overshown to turn around the defense. I will say this, when Overshown gets back, if he's fully healthy, which we got to understand, this man has severe injuries, that it's going to take some time for him to be himself. I would be surprised if he comes back and he's hair on fire again running through offenses. So, but I'm going to tell you this. Just when you turn on the tape, you can see it, his energy, how he is. He's going to bring the pressure rate up for sure. And I think that's what Eberflus is waiting on. That's what, Stephen Jones is waiting on. That's what Jerry Jones is waiting on. That's what Shoddy is waiting on. But, that can't be your only piece. We need another linebacker. For this defense to work, you're going to need strong linebacking play. You're going to need to be more physical. And I'm going to say this. There's another rookie, the rookie cornerback we drafted. His name Ravel. I'm really not confident that he will be healthy as well. It's another person we drafted, which is another thing. We do this a lot where we bargain shop and we find guys in these later, or I'm going to say early or mid rounds of the draft that are having injuries and things of that nature. And then all of a sudden, we are banking on that first round talent. Because of injuries, they probably slid, and we get these guys and they become a project. And then when they get healthy, we expect them to go 100 miles an hour and get back to where we think they should be, i.e. Jalen Smith, maybe your Bruce Carters, your Sean Lees and stuff like that. I'm going to say this. I'm not banking on a mid-round cornerback to come in and save us as well. Like, you really have to understand we are pretty much lopsided. Our dogs are on offense, and we got the puppies on defense. That is the most backwards philosophy I ever seen, and it's got to change. We are about, 6 or 7 games into the season, and your defense is the bottom of the league. And we've been like that outside of the time or tenure with DQ, Dan Quinn. We have been bottom of the barrel defense every year, and we have yet to figure it out. Especially in the playoffs, we get exposed. And I'm going to tell you something. This team, I'm going to say this. I think the team has some of the personnel to be a good average defense this year. But there's some pieces missing. And I'm telling you, it's on the back end with the secondary, with the safeties, and it's in that linebacking position. And I still think the pass rush, we need another defensive end. I'm cool with Donovan Azaraku starting over on that side. But like guys like Sam Williams, Dante Fowler, Marshawn Nealon, these guys, I'm not really excited. These guys are not getting to the quarterback like they should. But, your James Houstons, your Jadeveon Clowney's, because Clowney is not only a defensive end who can rush the passer, but he's really good on the run. I like his activity. I don't think he gets a lot of playing time since he signed with the Cowboys, working his way into shape. But I'll tell you what, I want dogs out there, and you need them. You're going to play teams like the Washington Commanders, who are going to come into the Cowboys Stadium Sunday afternoon, and they're going to be really upset. They lost a close game to the Chicago Bears. Now, one thing I can say, the teams that are beating us, though, are not bad teams. But I can tell you one thing, people thought they were bad before they played us. And boy, have we made them all look good. And there's no way. I mean, every one of those games we were in, we just didn't execute. And defensively, if we're coming in and we're saying, hey, our defense can score 40 today, but hey, we might give up 40. I'm not confident in the outcome of those type of games. And I don't know. I don't know what else the Cowboys can do, but I can tell you one thing. They're not giving up on the coaching staff. They're not giving up on the season. And they're not panicking. I mean, you can see it. I mean, unless something's going on behind closed doors, and who's to know? I mean, we didn't hear from Jerry Jones after the game. We didn't. He left. I know his birthday was on Monday, but I'm just saying, like, there could be things going on behind the scenes, but for what we see, they're not panicking at all. They're just kind of just sitting on the situation and saying, hey, it's going to change, you guys. That's all we're hearing from Stephen Jones. That's all we're hearing from Jerry. That's all we're hearing from Shoddy. That's all we're hearing from Eberflus. Eberflus is telling you, yeah, the player's not liking it, but this is my system. I'm going to run it. So I really just don't know. I don't know. That's what the consensus is for me today. I don't know. I just know we have to do something. And if you want to salvage the season, I would look for some more dogs on that defense that can, run this type of scheme. Because right now, I'm looking at the linebacking play. I'm looking at, the inconsistencies with the pressures and the pass rush, the inconsistency with stopping the run. There's players that we have that have gotten paid, and I don't think they fit this scheme. And, I think we need more maulers on the front line. Like, I think we need, more Kenny Clarks. Yeah, I know people probably saw this week, he didn't look good. He was getting tossed around out there. But I'm just saying, when you're the only, imposing defensive lineman, for the pass rush and the run, teams are doubling, teams are putting pressure on you. And, I know OC does a good job, but I feel like he sometimes it's just a pass rushing, tackle. And that's it. He's just a pass rushing tackle, and I just don't think we have a physical enough front. I mean, look at those guys in Carolina. You got, Robinson, and you got Brown. You got these big guys up front who are just run stuffers. Like, they're not going to allow anything to come up the middle, and they really did a good job on keeping Javonte Williams, behind the line of scrimmage most of the day. Like, he never could get going. So, and this is one of the best running backs in the league. So, I mean, we have to have that same mentality. We got to force teams to, you know what? Yeah, you guys got to throw it. We got to make them choose. Hey, you want to hold the ball and let us get a chance to get to you, or you're just going to have to throw it. Just throw that thing up there. And we like our chances with that. But no, I just feel like teams are able to come in and pick their poison. Hey, you know what? Until they can prove to stop the run, we're just going to keep running it. And then when we need to, we'll pass it. We'll have someone, because they play so far off in coverage, we'll have someone run a route, make sure they get over that first down marker, and here we go. We can move the chains, and we can do this all night. And they can't stop the run, we'll just keep their offense off the field. And I'm sure the games that we're losing, they're making sure our offense never gets on the field. They're controlling the time of possession. So these are all the things that are happening as the season is going through. I mean, this is a long season. There's a lot of parity that goes on. I mean, unfortunately, the division teams are losing multiple games. Some of them back to back to back. You know, we got the Eagles lost 2 in a row. They started off hot. They look, you know, and who's to know? They can still make a run. You know, they can figure it out. I mean, they're a great team on the defensive side. That's what's going to keep them in most of their games. You know, outside of that Thursday night football game against the Giants. I mean, they've looked good defensively. So, I mean, any given Sunday. That's pretty much my take today. This is episode 1 of DOW Sportscast. You guys tune in next week, or you know, when I make my next post, maybe the Cowboys turn it around. Stay tuned. Peace.